The first question is now a good time to buy? So let's talk about market conditions in order for me to answer that question. So there are markets within markets, right? So you have the major metropolitan area of Atlanta. That is a market. And then you have sub-markets. So you have sub-markets within the major metropolitan area, and it's depending on location. So certain areas are already in seller's market, some are in a buyer's market, some are in a normalized market. So I see and hear a lot of things that have been misconstrued because there's a generalization that's going on. And a lot of agents will say we're in a buyer's market, and it may not always be true for certain areas. It really depends on where you are in that specific area and if that applies to that area. It may not. Now, overall, like when we're taking a look and a glance at like 13 counties, which is based on the FMLS listings or Atlanta Realtors Association. Per Atlanta Realtors Association, you have to speak properly, right? Like you have to make sure that you're quoting where you're getting the source from, because it may not apply. It's not a one size fits all. So based on the Atlanta Realtors Association, as of the end of June 2025, our average price point was at $556,000 for our price point, right? And not only that, we had right around like 4 months of inventory that was readily accessible. So what is considered a buyer's market, seller's market, and a normalized market? Because there is a normal market. And I think that's where a lot of agents are just kind of skipping over, is that middle ground. So anytime you have less than 5 months of inventory, you're in a seller's market. 5 to 7 months is a normalized market, and 7 months plus is a buyer's market. We don't have 5 yet. We're creeping up to it, which means we're actually still in a seller's market in certain areas. But certain areas have already gone into that space of being in a normalized market, which means you have way more inventory sitting there, or a balanced amount of inventory with buyers. And that's what we're seeing, because buyers are still buying, right? And so we have a good amount of inventory that's on there. So right now is the time. The question is right now a good time to buy? The answer is absolutely yes. If you're not buying right now, you kind of tripping. Like, that's just the word, right? You're tripping because you have the ability right now, while sellers were just used to having multiple offers, and then it like was a abrupt halt where they're like freaking out right now. They're like, oh my gosh, why is my house sitting longer than 30 days? When honestly, it's just a normal time frame. So they have no clue of what is going on. So this is just normal for them, right? So you mean to tell me that you're going to miss out an opportunity that a person is freaking out over selling, which means when a person freaks out, they're almost willing to do anything, right? So they're almost willing to pay all of your closing costs, potentially reduce the price of their property. Like, you literally have all of the ability to get exactly what you want at this moment, but you want to sit around and wait for the interest rate to drop. So when the interest rate drops, now you actually have to compete with 5 other people, and now the price is now it's the highest and best, situation, and what you thought you were saving, now you're paying more for. We got to make it make sense, right? So you can refinance if it drops, if the interest rates drop, but you don't want to wait around when it comes to price. You don't want to come in at the higher end of the price, because that's the thing that's locked in, is the price. What's not locked for the rest of your life is the interest rate. You can change the interest rate if it happens to drop. But what you can't change is how much you pay for that house. So what we want to make sure we're doing is getting the best of both worlds. And the only way to do that is to lock in the price. And then if the interest rates does drop, refinance out of that thing. Okay. And get that lower rate. And now you have the best of both worlds. So that's that. So we have, so that was the first question, was, is it a good time to buy? I would say absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, it is a great time to purchase right now.